Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is the podcast show, Fanatics Calling. I'm your host, Khalid Mohideen, and this is the show where we talk about everything, real fan opinions. We get to sit back, enjoy the show, and just talk about things that happened over the week, and obviously anything that's involved with cricket as well. But you guys can bring me comments in the comment section, and we can just have a conversation. It's your opportunity as well to call in on the show, and obviously come talk to me about various things that has happened so far. So I think the best way to start off the show is probably talk about the fact that this particular match that was supposed to happen, obviously getting called off because of COVID-19. And there were initially, for the guys that don't know about it and what actually happened, initially there were two people on the staff at the hotel where England was staying that were positive of COVID-19. They were tested positive. And that obviously meant that the whole team needed to be tested as well. So with the results only coming back this morning, there were two cases or unconfirmed cases, as it said in the press release, of COVID-19. So that meant that the game was called off, the second game in a row that's now called off. And we don't actually know what is going to be happening in the coming weeks. Are there going to be any more games? Are they going to call it off completely? What is going to happen is what we're still waiting to hear. We haven't really gotten any news on that yet. So we're still waiting for that to take place. But I thought, let's just have a conversation about everything and about the future and about cricket in South Africa. And let's start with South Africa with regards to their team, and obviously finding a team that is settled, because obviously we're on the hunt for that. Pouch is on the hunt for that, and everybody's on the hunt for that. Fans are on the hunt for that, and we just don't know who they're going to pick and who they're not going to pick and what's going to happen. So I want to ask you guys in the comment section, put your players in the comment section. Who do you guys think will be the safe guys? As I said, on the players that are safe in the squad. Let's talk about the T20 squad, not the ODI squad for now. Let's think about that World Cup coming in the future. We're obviously launching the magazine tomorrow, and it's an exciting edition. It's all about thinking ahead of the World Cup, the World T20, a winning mentality. What do coaches think about it? What do the selectors think about it? What do some of the players think about it? And that's what that whole edition is going to be about. So put them in the comments. Let me know in the live comments who you think are the guys that are safe in this particular team for the T20 World Cup. Me personally, I'll give you my opinion for now, so long until we wait for the callers. I mean, we have one caller waiting, and we will bring him on the show soon. But I think at the moment, the only guys that I can really think of that are safe in this side, that are number one picks, if you think about it, is Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Nkidi, Debrey Shamsi, Andrich Nokia, Faf du Plessis, Rassie van der Dussen, Quentin de Kock. I think those are the guys that you would say in that T20 side. Andile Pechlikwayo as well, I feel. That is 100% safe, that you would say, okay, cool, those are the guys that we will pick and we'll build a team around. I think there are still questions over Temba Bavuma at the top of the order, or Yanaman Malan, between the two of them. A lot of fans say they want Yanaman. Some fans say they don't want Temba. There's still concerns over the number 5-6 position. Some people obviously saying it's a straight decision just to call for David Miller. And some people are saying maybe Heinrich Larsson. Some guys may even say that some guys could be called up. Younger guys could be called up, like Vian Libbe and obviously Marco Murray and Marcus Ackerman, so many young talent that were in the Mzansi Super League. So those are my guys that I think that are safe so far. But let me know in the comment section who you guys think. And obviously, before we bring on the caller, let's just remember, to the guys that haven't subscribed yet, please click that subscribe button, click that notification bell for all future videos. So I'm going to bring on the first caller. Gagandeep, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to see you. We haven't had a conversation before, so this is going to be an awesome conversation right now. Um, Based on the title that we spoke about, who do you think are the guys that are probably a sure pick in the T20 squad for South Africa, at least in that starting 11?
I'll say Dawson has been doing well, and Clarkson has been doing well. So he's definitely not gonna miss out on the squad. And if you look at Hendricks, he's just getting in, but he needs a lot of time to play his natural game.
What do you think about Faf?
So,
I mean, obviously, seeing him in the IPL, he was phenomenal. What
yeah,
is your thoughts on Faf?
yeah, he's doing fantastic, but sometimes I think he needs to play his role as a captain. I'll say that he needs to prove he has to play experience role. He has to control the team. So basically, the youngsters should come up because, anyways, if you're playing so many T20s, you already have that experience to control the middle order.
Because I'm trying to think. Sorry, I didn't ask you. Where are you from?
I'm from Kenya.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk to you about, a lot of people have been talking about, obviously, Quinton de Kock, and they're talking about his captaincy. Some people say that he maybe shouldn't be the captain, and maybe Faf should take that captaincy. What is your thoughts on Quinton de Kock's captaincy?
He is learning because, definitely if you give a youngster captaincy, you have to trust him. You can't just tell him to give Puff, but Puff being experienced enough, so they should exchange advices on the ground. Learn if he's struggling, then definitely the person to go to would be Puff to ask for advice. If you notice in other teams like India, you'll find Virat Kohli going to Dhoni because Dhoni is much experienced captain. Yeah, so definitely de Kock he's a good captain, no doubt, but just learning process for him.
Yeah, and obviously they're going to be speaking about a lot of things when it comes to, obviously the World Cup's going to be in India, so getting the second spinner involved, getting that second number 6 involved is going to be very important. Do you think that George Linder showed what he has to offer?
I think when you look at subcontinent, most people prefer to go with more spinners. But if you look at number 6, should be a good all-rounder, and it can be a medium pacer, but as long as he can bat through. Main thing in T20 is one of the all-rounders has to click, because you can't rely on your pure batsman. As an all-rounder, you have that option. You can also chip in with your bowling.
Yeah,
so
that's
if
true.
you go for a specialist spinner, you're cutting out one batsman.
That's
You're
true.
cutting out your batsman. Yeah.
So, guys, I'm going to go through some of the comments before we bring on the next callers. We've got Reginald saying that he thinks the Kakrabada, Nokia, Van der Dussen, Gideon, Bavuma, Linda, Peklekwaya, Shamsi, and Duplessis will cement their spots in the squad. I think that's good shouts, all of them. We've got Janine. Call in, Janine. I mean, you want to talk in the comments, come call in on the show. Linda, baby. She says, I think there's a lot more we can see from him. There is. We've got Apiwe waiting in the wings. Welcome to the show, Apiwe. And we've got Abai waiting in the wings. Welcome to the show, Abai, too. Guys, let's talk about it. Let's start with Apiwe. Who do you think is the guys that have, you could say, are safe in the squad that will be selected definitely?
Safe guys, I'd go from the top. Quinton de Kock, Faf, I'd say Temba, even though he's not sure in the lineup, as in the 11, but in the squad, I think he's definitely going. We go Andile Pesugwayo, the bowling lineup, Nokia, Rabada, Lungi, and Shamo. Those are the pretty safe guys. the middle order is where I think only maybe Rasi is a showcase right now. And then the rest is free for all. Everyone can still make it. And there's a lot of names which we might want to go, but that's where the trick is, trying to get that extra bowling option, trying to get the balance of the team perfect. So that's where it's going to be tricky, the middle order especially.
Abai, you've been keeping an eye, obviously, on the domestic scene, etc. What I want to ask you is, we've been talking about on this podcast for quite some time about giving youngsters an opportunity. And now with this ODI series, we're not sure if it's going to go through or not, if they're going to call it off or not, because England was supposed to fly back on Thursday, and I don't know how they're going to fit in 3 games in this week. They have to cancel the game completely, and they maybe go for tomorrow. They haven't confirmed whether tomorrow is going to be on or not. But I want to ask you is, when can we have an opportunity to see what these guys are capable of?
Okay, as far as I think the young domestic stars are concerned, I'd probably say maybe the next T20 series, because I think this ODI squad for the England for the England tour it's pretty much set. I think T20 is the right place to experiment if you were to ask me.
You see, my suggestion would be, seeing that we're having some problems with COVID at the moment, why not have an intra-squad type of game at this particular facility that is bio-bubbled for 2 weeks or so, and maybe at the High Performance Center in Johannesburg, get those youngsters that are all in contention to be able to go for a World Cup squad, put the guys against each other, play an intra-squad match like England did before. Obviously, we were going to do that, but before this particular series, they had inter-squad games. But I think South Africa can do that and have the selectors there, have Mark Boucher there, looking at the talent that they have available, put the best in South Africa against the best in South Africa and see what they come up with. Maybe mix the teams around, maybe put some of the A-team batsmen against the B-team bowlers and then switch it around. B-team batsmen with A-team bowlers and then let them go at each other and let's see what they have to offer. What is that, guys? Anybody who wants to talk about that idea, just let me know. Just put up your hand and go.
Yeah, it's a good way to select the team, and obviously you'll get to know what the batsmen are capable of doing and what the bowlers are capable of doing against each other. Then obviously the performance will show that one can definitely go to a World Cup squad.
Happy, where you put up your hand as well?
I think that's a good idea, especially with all the lack of game time that's happening and every tour being tentative and bio bubbles and all that. If we could have our own inter-squad type of thing happening, we can give a lot of the youngsters, especially, a run out against very, very good bowlers, which we have. We do feel our bowling attack is pretty strong, but it's the consistent batting that has been a problem for us. So I do think the youngsters, especially, because most of them, we need to get a solid top 6, and in that top 6, have a bowling option. So our bowling options shouldn't need to be able to get into a top 6. So they need to prove that they can bat. So I think a lot of these guys, like Vian Lever, everyone knows he can bat, but I'll use him as an example, need to be put to a test and prove themselves, I think, to the selection panel and the coaching staff, I feel. So I think this idea of an inter-squad game could be a good one.
Yeah, all right, so I got something to add. Oh, my bad.
Yeah. No, but I can go.
All right. Okay. So yeah, what I was going to say is, I've heard the saying "practice makes perfect" quite often. But another thing that makes you perfect is when you constantly play opponents that are better than you, because then you learn where you're coming up short at the moment, and then you can work on that, and then you'll improve going forward. So I think this inter-squad game will be very helpful, and I think the biggest beneficiaries will be the up and coming youngsters.
Yeah. So which youngsters are you talking about? Which ones would you like to see given an opportunity in a series like that or a game like that?
Let's okay. So definitely, probably Zubair Hamza, because remember last year's Momentum One Day Cup, he did a fantastic job. I don't think he's been
Yeah.
rewarded with the ODI call up, so I think I'd like to see him there. Maybe Tondo Ntini. I know he's a very promising bowler, and I'd like to see how he goes too. So that's only two players, but I'd imagine there are a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because those are two guys that maybe in the T20 format have not really put their name forward. You know, if we're talking about the T20 World Cup, I mean, it's a bit close. It's a close call to actually go test things now. I mean, the World Cup is around the corner. Basically, it's like in a year's time, so it's gotten it really short. But I mean, if we're looking for just one or two positions, that's why I said the core group needs to be identified, and then build a team
Correct.
around them. Because then you can just slot in guys that are naturally playing that game. Gagandeep, thanks for calling on the show. Do you want to say anything else before you go?
Good, thanks. That one thing I'll say. The If the Cricket Board of South Africa can concentrate on Manzia Super League, that's where you will
Hmm.
find talent coming up, and that's where you can test your talent.
Yeah.
If you notice, IPL has given a lot of youngsters to Indian national team, so I think the Super League would be a good place to find out what you've got in the bag.
Yeah, that's a very good point because I mean I was shocked that there's certain players that Boucher played against, obviously in that final, that he didn't really that really took him apart actually, and they didn't really get an opportunity. So it's weird how the things have been happening. But thanks a lot, Gagandeep, for coming on the show. Thanks a lot for your insights, and we'll chat to you again very soon.
All right, thank you very much. Cheers.
See you, man. So, from your perspective, Abai, we spoke about some of those guys, man. I mean, like, especially when you talk about someone like Marcus Ackerman at the Blitz, played really well in the T20 format. He has that natural attacking ability. But I think that South Africa is really struggling in that 5-6 position. I think that's where they need to find someone really badly to this solidify that attack. I think we're picking too many people that are similar. Guys that need some time at the crease before they get their eye in. I think we need a couple of guys like Farhan Biadin used to be, who can come out of the crease after 2-3 balls and then smash the ball at the park. I think they need a couple of guys to this complete that top 5, top 6. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Okay, I'll go first. So I remember, I think it was from an earlier podcast. I remember Mpo saying that we need someone who can play a fearless type of cricket. So when they go out to the middle, they start hitting from ball one, and this is the type of player that we've been looking for quite some time.
Hmm.
As far as David Miller is concerned, I'm a fan of the guy. I mean, he's a very good player, but in recent times, I think he's struggled. If I were to think of a couple of nominees for the ideal finisher, with regards to newcomers, I'd probably say Vian Libra and Marco Moret. Those are the two names that are coming to mind at the moment.
Mm. Api, we've got a comment for you from Lubabalo. Sending comments, not calling in on the show. Huh? Nice shirt up here with these gents. We've got Dick saying, I would like to see Grant Rudolfsson, Ruan de Swart. Now, I know we can call out
Rulofson's
a
a
lot
top
of
order
youngsters, man.
batsman.
Hey?
Rulofson's a top order batsman in
What did you
white
say?
ball cricket. Oh, I said Rulofsson
Yeah.
is a top order
Yeah, I know,
batsman in
yeah.
white ball
Yeah.
cricket.
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah, so I think we have enough guys competing for that number 1 spot. I think Riza Hendricks, um, Temba Bavuma, and Quinton de Kock, Janaman Malan for that number opening position. Because I think for that top 3, I even think that Janaman could bat 4-5. Me personally, because I think he has the ability to be able to turn it on and smack the ball at the park if he needs to from ball 1, and he can take his time at the crease. I think he has the ability to shift. It's a good option to have, but the only reason I wanted to play Janaman initially at 5 now in the series was to test him against spin. So the next question that I'm going to ask you guys, and that's the theme of the magazine for tomorrow, is South Africa needs to learn the art of winning and the mentality on how to win and get over the line. What factors, Api, we will start with you. What factors, and then we can go to Abai, answer straight afterwards. What factors do you think are important for South Africa to be able to build a winning side with a winning mentality?
I'll start with the obvious ones. We need an extra bowling option, because even in this series with the England T20 series, which we lost 3-0 and looks terrible, we lost the first two games by 1 over. We lost it due to an over in both games. They were close games, and we just had an over, which I feel sometimes you put too much pressure if you only got 5 guys. Even if a guy is having a decent day, not a terrible day, but you could have one bad over or a slightly bad over, and then he still has to bowl another over because he has to. We only have 5 guys. I think if Queenie has options at the end, picking from bowlers, he can have a better. How can I put it? He can be in a better position to lead us into victories, because we do have good bowling options. We do. But sometimes, like that first game when Shamsi and Linda were bowling really well, we could have used an extra over somewhere before the death, just before the death of spin, an extra over of spin. I know Clausen went for runs the game before, so it was hard to go back to him, but that was the game where he might have been used earlier. So we needed an option early on, so then there wouldn't have been pressure at the end. Lungi would have needed to come bowl 1, or KG or might have also needed to come bowl 1 or 2, you see, at the end, and then there's less pressure. Having to bowl 2 overs at the death and have to bowl 2 overs at the death sometimes in T20 can put pressure on a bowler, and it's easier for batsmen to line them up. So that 6th bowling option is very important, I think, for us to start winning games. And then we really need to start scoring quickly. Not just scoring runs, scoring them quickly. We need to be comfortable scoring 180 on normal. Even if the pitch seems a little tough, we need to be getting to 180. Even though India and England are going to be chasing that most of the time, but we need to, as a base, start at 180.
You see, now, Abai, you can give your thoughts now, but I'm just going to talk on what Api said now. Scoring quickly is very important, right? And you're hitting the nail on the head there. But my thought process is that there are different ways of scoring. There's not only one way to score quickly. And it seems to me that when South Africa wants to play this aggressive brand of cricket and they want to score quickly, they're looking to score over the top. Now, we know that the power plays are in place. Amla has proven it over the years in ODI cricket and to an extent in T20 cricket as well, when he plays in the IPL and as well, when the chances that he did have. He's shown that you can play the ball on the ground into the gaps and score quickly. Now, if you have a guy that can play a quick brand of cricket like Quinton de Kock, who can play any shot in the book, and then you've got a guy that can anchor the innings at the other end and play the ball safely. But then situations like we've had, when the pitch is difficult and you're struggling to score runs, a guy like on the other end can decide, look here, let's not try to go over the fielders' heads. Let's try to put the ball in the gaps and score quickly in that manner. Now, that smartness is something that they need to learn, I feel. And that's the smartness that I feel that we're going to lack. I mean, if you want to play in India, it's not going to be the usual Indian wickets that people think they are. Now, obviously, the IPL wasn't played in India. It was played in Dubai. So the conditions can change a lot over the next year until we see it. India play some games over there again. And we're going to have to see what wickets they produce. Now, some of the commentators on the games, on the T20 games, were speaking about the wickets, saying there is this consensus that India only has spinning wickets. But they've seen over the years in the IPL that there are some seaming wickets being produced from India. And guys like Kagiso Rabada have proven it. Guys like Trent Boult have shown it. Guys like all the faster guys, all the faster bowlers. Malinga has shown it over the years that you can be successful as a seamer and top the charts as a bowler. So there are some wickets, yes, that are spinner friendly, and especially in Test cricket, India will make it seem that way because they will obviously take your part by asking their groundsmen to create wickets that are conducive to spin. And they know that people are going to be all tied up and tangled in that because nobody's going to spin like they spinners in their conditions. But I think in T20 cricket, you're going to get wickets, you're going to get different types of wickets, and you're going to need to be able to adapt. And I think that's why Mark Boucher has put in such a big emphasis on being able to adapt and playing smart cricket. Abai, let's go to you. What are your thoughts on building a winning mentality?
All right. So I think if we're going to build a winning mentality, I think a good point of reference would be take the Mumbai Indians, for example. Every year in the IPL, you see that they have this nuclear core of players that they like to build their squad around, and that's been the secret to their success, winning the IPL multiple times. So I think if we were to take a piece from their textbook, yeah, we need to establish that same core. So I would say players like Quinton de Kock, Faf du Plessis, Rassi van der Dussen, and then Andile Pexuguayo, and then the bowlers, KG, Lungi, Tabraiz Shamsi, Anrek Nortje. I think those players would form a great core, and then we just need to build around them. I think Temba Bavuma is pretty close to being part of that core. I think we've seen decent start from him in the T20 format. He didn't do that well in this recent series, but I think he has a pretty good idea on how to approach in this format. So I think this would be the best idea. But let's see what the others say.
Afzal said, of course, I think the mindset needs to change. Yes, teams like India and England are way ahead of us, but the players and coaches need to stop mentioning that they are better, even if it's clear. It's a good point. But I think that South African public, if Boucher and them start talking about how great South Africa is and we don't do well, the public are going to come hard for him. So I think it's safer for him as a South African to, head of the South African team, to actually concede and say, look, you guys, we're in a rebuilding phase. Be patient with us. We're going to get there. You can't teach being smart, being a smart cricketer. It's not something you can teach. You can try and give as much insight to a player as possible, but he's still going to go out there and maybe try a sweep shot that he's not supposed to try. He's still going to try to
develops over time.
Double step. Yeah, I guess so. But sometimes also the player has that naturally within him to be able to know when to adapt his own game plan to suit the conditions, and that's so important. And I keep on hopping on it and going back to it. When I spoke to Shukri Conrad from the under 19 coach now, he hopped on that. He said that my main thing that I'm going to be teaching these guys, or one of the main things that I'm going to be teaching these guys, is how to read conditions. Because from a young age, if we can teach them how to adapt their game to the right conditions, they are going to be more than fine in international cricket. They'll be able to grow themselves. They'll be able to adapt themselves. They'll be able to know what their own personal game is. Dylan Jansen saying, I don't get notifications of the channel anymore. I'm not sure why that is. Check if you've clicked the notification bell correctly and selected all updates. I'm not sure why that isn't. Thank you for subscribing, though, Dylan. Guys, so how far is South Africa from that? From getting there? And guys, in the comments, let me know what you guys think. How far is South Africa actually from getting to that level? Are we almost too optimistic to think that we can compete in the World T20?
P-Way, you can go first.
I don't, because it's T20, innings can get you very far, and we've got two of the best batsmen, I think, not just in the country, but in World T20. In T20s at the moment, in Quinton de Kock and Faf du Plessis. So they can pull it off in any game, and we can trust our bowling attack. So our problem at the moment is we don't trust our top six. So if two guys can get into form, Rassi being one, hopefully, and then a Clausen or a Miller, if they take Miller, and that's the top five. That's the top five. If that top five, don't worry if we take the extra all-rounder or we go whoever comes in at 6. But if we can have a really solid top 5 and those guys start scoring runs, because in T20 we only have 20 overs to bowl. to bat, and your top 5 should be scoring most of the runs. So yes, we would like to have a guy batting in an 8 because it frees up the team. But Quinton bats freely most of the time. Even if he had 4 batsmen, he'd bat the way Queenie bats, and that's how we want him to bat. So if your top order is getting runs, we'll definitely have a chance, I think. Even with the problem in that lower middle order, we still have a chance. I'm not saying we favorites or we anywhere, but we still have a chance. A chance is definitely something we do have with Faf, Queenie, and our bowling attack.
All right, so yeah, I'd mostly agree with the Pee-wee. Yeah, with regards to our chances in the next T20 World Cup, first of all, we have to keep both our feet on the ground. It's good to dream. Like, there's nothing wrong with dreaming, but we just have to make sure we're being realistic. So I wouldn't necessarily call ourselves world beaters right now, but we're definitely a strong squad in the making. I think. So there's less than a year to go, and I think that's not enough time to explore new options. I think we need to back the players we have at the moment to come good. I mean, the only exception to this was George Linda, because he hasn't played any T20 internationals before, and he did so well against a top side like England. So here's what I like to say. I'm going to say there are encouraging signs, and I think we're going to be a good team. And I can leave it at that.
Yeah, but I mean that fear. What happened to the American dream, Abai? Yes, jeez, you guys sell us this American dream, and now we're trying to have it, and not joking. But what I'm trying to say is, like, wouldn't it be a bigger weapon to have someone that is not been seen before in the World Cup, like just one player, 2 players, like they can bat at 6 or something like that they haven't seen before. They don't know the plans against him. There's not much footage around about him, but he can play with no fear, and he can just go out there and have fun. I think that would, like I'm talking about the Marco Murray, for example.
Okay.
Not a lot of people have known about him, and not a lot of people have seen him. He's played him Zanzibar Super League, played really well. Vian Libba as well.
I have seen him.
They don't really. yeah, you've seen him, but I mean, like, I'm talking about, like, at an international level. They haven't seen him yet. How he's going to perform? He can the weight off his shoulders. Where's a guy like when it's a guy like, for example, David Miller is going to play with a lot of pressure. he's going to play with a lot of pressure on him to perform, and yeah, it's one of those tricky situations. I'm going to go into the comments quickly. You can so long about, so I can look through the comments. If you want to say something, nothing. No.
Oh no. You can start with the comments. Yeah. I can just address a couple of comments.
Yeah, our biggest problem is that we were busy running after retired players instead of using the players we have in the whole country. And I agree with you on that, because I think that we should have started our planning. Like I said, we should have started our planning last year. When we knew that Amla was going to retire, Vernon Philander, Dale Steyn, Morne Morkel, all of these guys are going to go. So many guys signed Colpack contracts. That was the chance to test and trial for your T20 game and look and see which players can we pick that can give an opportunity, because they were testing with the T20 for a long time. Was it necessary for them to pick 33-year-olds, etc., in games like that? I mean, what's the point of picking 33-year-olds and then they don't even get a game? I don't understand that at all. So what is your answer there, Abai?
Okay, so I think it's a bit of an exaggeration. I don't think we're in pursuit of a lot of retired players. I think the only one whom we're keeping an eye on right now is AB de Villiers, and he hasn't indicated that he's making a comeback to international cricket at the moment. But apparently, I think he's still in talks with the head coach. So, but still, I feel very open-minded about AB de Villiers, especially because our batting has struggled from time to time, and we need that player who can change games, who can single-handedly win games, and I think he's still well and truly capable because of what he did in the IPL. And if we think about it, the quality of the IPL, it almost matches that of international cricket.
It's crazy how he comes into every single conversation.
Can I say something about the AB debate? Because I feel right now, our problem is 5 and 6. That's where we really need to sort ourselves out. We feel like Rassi is going to be our number 4. Even if we not 100%, I think he is going to be our number 4. Faf is our number 3. Then we've got 2 openers, being Queenie and some other guy. Whoever that guy is, Queenie and some guy.
Bavuma?
Yeah, it could be Bavuma, it could be Yanaman, could be someone left field. But that's Temba and that's the options we've got. So if AB is coming in, where is he batting? Are we going to be happy with AB at 5, or do we start again, mess up our lineup and push Van der Dessen down to 6 again, or to 5, and have AB batting at 4? Because if AB is in the team, people are going to say best player should be facing the most balls. Is he coming in at 3 or 4 and messing up the positions we actually think are pretty sorted? So we need to sort this AB thing out as quickly as possible, because it's going to seriously destabilize us again closer to the World Cup. Because I do feel Rassi is our number 4, Faf is our number 3, and we need to sort out number 5 and 6. Not come again and bring a number 3 or a number 4 who might destabilize us again. So I'm a big AB fan, but we need to sort it out like last year.
Yeah, you see, my thing is about T20 cricket is a little bit, I feel personally that it can be a little bit more adaptable than the other formats. So you play the situation, I think, more in T20 cricket and the conditions, because dependable on that, you can see which bowlers come on when they bring on bowlers. Bowlers are more interchangeable. You'll see one guy bowl 1 over and then get changed immediately. Like that, it's very interchangeable, a T20 game. It's based on a lot of match situation, who's on the other end, etc. So when you pick in a squad or team for a T20 game, it can be quite interchangeable. You can bring people in that you think, if the wicket is a belter and you know that Yanaman is good at playing against space, and you bring him out to combat with for example, Quinny, they're going to probably dominate that. If they're in form, they're going to probably dominate that power play. Of course they are. And like you could see for Chennai Super Kings, they decided to bring Sam Curran and let him open in some games. So like they just decide you can do things like that, and that's what makes T20 so crazy. And it is very interchangeable, I feel. We got Afsal saying CSA aren't too far from the nation, are too far from the other nations. Just need to find 2 or 3 missing pieces, and we will have an equal chance of winning the World Cup. Oh, then he said they aren't too far away. Sorry, I read that incorrectly. And I think that we have some world-class T20 players in that side. You can see how they performed in the IPL. We've got some world-class players. Kagiso, Andrich, Lungi, world-class players. Shamsi, I think, unlucky to not get an opportunity in the IPL maybe, but I think he's also a world-class player. When he has a bowler on the other end that can kind of allow him to be as expressive as he wants to be on the other end. So him and Andile will bowl beautifully. Andile can get his accuracy a lot tighter. He can hold the one end, and a lot of runs will not seep through from his end. And then you can bring on a guy like Shams on the other end who can be a little bit more expressive and take the chances. Sacrifice a couple of runs for wickets. That's what Shams is good at doing. The fact that we think that we do not stand a chance to win in the World Cup without certain players is worrying, says Lubabalo. Dylan says, I feel we should play the game in phase with the bat. Quinny goes hard for the first 6, and then Faf builds his innings from there, and Dwayne finishes. So that's how you think about it. It can be think like that. You can think of it strategically, but it depends on the wicket that you face, depends on the weather conditions, depends on who the player bowls when, who the opposition players when. It's much more strategic, I feel. Guys, go and have a look. My Henry saying, guys, go and have a look at how we play cricket provincial level. All 3 formats and maybe lower down. Yes, there needs to be, I feel, also some consistency with the way South Africa plays their brand of cricket. I mean, when I spoke to Corbin Bosch and he said he went over to Australia to play a bit in Australia, he said that the way the Australians think about cricket and the way they play, it's mind-boggling the way they switch it on. So, like, for example, it looks like the game's going to end up in the draw, but they'll tell their team, look here, go for the win. Go for the runs, chase it down. Let's see, maybe we get there over the line, and when we don't, but let's go out there with no fear. And that's the mindset that all of their players play with. Morgan made it clear that being aggressive is the only option in white ball cricket, T20s in particular. So Proteas need to adapt the mindset, and Quinton certainly can do that for the World Cup. Now, Dex, Yes, you are right. But they are aggressive, but they're smart. You can see the way they played in Paul when they chased down that total. They weren't playing aggressively where they were smacking the ball over people. They were finding the gaps, hitting the straight back, getting consistent boundaries. Rather, that's also an aggressive style. That's also an attacking style. You don't have to clear the ropes every single time to be aggressive and attacking. It's a combination of both. You get the pressure onto the bowler, and then you can take him over. That's playing smart cricket. Get the ball tick over, get a couple of boundaries, put pressure back on the bowler, and then go after him. That's how you destroy. A spider, when he eats his prey, doesn't just attack the thing and eat it. He will take a web and put it around him, get him trapped in that web, and then completely uncover it and then trap it and eat it. A python takes forever to kill its prey before it swallows it whole. So, like, I know I'm using animalistic terms here, but it's about
It's a pretty good comparison. Not gonna lie, it's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah. So we're gonna go into some of the other comments over here. We are good enough to make at least the semifinals still, I think. Janine saying Clinton. We would love to see Clinton, obviously. I was hoping to see him in his ODIs. Hopefully, we will see some cricket tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure what's happening over there. There hasn't been any confirmation about that yet. I'll just double check I've read so many things today that my brain is all over the place. So when a press release comes out, forgive me. I'm gonna scan through it, not read it in depth. But there hasn't been any press release I've seen recently to tell us if there's gonna be a game tomorrow or not. Does the coach not back himself to turn to these guys in the T20 World Cup winning team? Or is he crossing his fingers that AB returns? I think to an extent he is crossing his fingers to AB's return. When we spoke to him about it in the press conference, he wasn't. He would have just ruled it out and said no. When I spoke to Victor Pitsang at the beginning when he got the job, he told me that they haven't heard from AB. So they haven't had the conversation with AB. They haven't heard from AB. So obviously AB, his wife just gave birth to another kid. Obviously he's going to be with his family. I think Abai, you told me he pulled out of the BBL as well.
Yeah, AB de Villiers, he did pull out of the BBL. That's because he wanted to stay with his family. His daughter was born not long ago.
Yeah, so maybe that is the reason why we haven't seen him put up his hand.
And it's fair to say that was the same reason why he pulled out of the T20 series against England.
Lumabalo, come on the show. Why are you hiding in the comments here? Abai likes hiding behind open-mindedness, but it's merely running after AB.
Here's what I'm gonna say. If you're gonna debate with me, get on the show. Don't hide and throw comments in there. Get over here, man.
Oh, Lumabalo, Abai is calling you out. Yes, so bro. You need to come on the show right now, bro. I think that's a perfect opportunity for you to put Dubai in this place. AB is making retirement money in tournaments around the world. Represent this country isn't the priority right now. We've got Open with Faf and the Cock. Why do we need some Bavuma?
I think that's being a bit too harsh. I mean, Bavuma's definitely got ability. I think he's done well in T20 internationals. It was just one series where things just didn't go well. I think he's bound to improve. I mean, he did well in the ODIs, and he looks a much better player in the shorter formats.
I think it's a bit. I think only eight games behind his name in T20 cricket, and many people are calling for his head. I think it's a bit harsh. I think he has the ability. You see, people will use the excuse that he hasn't performed, that isn't performing domestic level, man. But when you go look at his stats, and I don't think people know this, but on Crick Info, they combine your stats, semi-pro stats, as well as first-class stats. It's combined with what you've done for franchise and combined with what you've done for provinces. So if you've played at other multiple provinces, obviously, and in T20 tournaments, it's that plus your franchise thing. So if you look at the franchise levels, obviously at different level, and you've split it up, Pavuma's stats are not as bad as people think they are. Yes, they could. You want to pick guys that are averaging 40 in white ball cricket, not 35, 30s in high 30s or mid 30s. You want to pick guys that are averaging 40s and above, obviously, if we can find them. But I feel that every time Bavuma has played for South Africa, he turns up his game a bit. He performs better for his province for his country than he plays for his franchise. that is what I've seen so far. For T20 series, they should rest players like Quinton de Kock, Faf, Rassie, KG, Andrich, and Gidi, since they have nailed their spots, and give Janneman, Libba, Magala, Clinton, Marco, Maria a go. What's your thoughts on that? Apiwa, I know you have an opinion on that.
No, before I go on that one, the previous the Faf opening option, I also don't agree with it, especially right now. I think that will be the AB solution. When AB comes in, they might do that and push people up so they can open a space for him in middle order. But I really don't agree with it at the moment. Faf is a 3, Bavuma is opening with Quinton de Kock. Faf is our best number 3 in white ball cricket. Test my ODI and T20 has been brilliant. I don't think we need to mess around with him too much. He might have done it for CSK and other people, but he's been brilliant for us at number 3. So I think even if we're not being harsh on if we're being harsh on Bavuma or anything, but I still think Faf also needs to stay at number 3. Not just that Bavuma needs to open. I also feel like Faf needs to stay at number 3 because he's been brilliant for us there. He knows how to change gears. If he comes in at 80 for 1, he goes on straight away. He comes in when the team is in trouble and he can build his innings like that. So he's very adaptable. So I love Faf at 3. I think he should stay there. And sometimes people don't rate him as highly as he should be. Faf at number 3 in white ball cricket has been brilliant for South Africa.
Yeah, it's true.
I think going back to the Bavuma argument, I don't like it when players get pigeonholed to a certain format. Like, this guy's good for Test cricket or this guy's good for T20 cricket, because then we'll never get to know if that player is good enough to play all formats. And I think that was kind of the case with Bavuma. I mean, in the 2019 World Cup, he probably could have been an option, because remember, he did score a ton on ODI debut, and then he played another game after that, and he wasn't really in the mix for ODIs until more recently. So that's one instance, and I think going to Bavuma's T20 game, he's definitely capable. I mean, I think 2 years ago it was a franchise final, and he scored a century against the Warriors. That was an amazing knock. I've seen the highlights multiple times, so I'm quite convinced that Bavuma has what it takes to succeed in all formats.
So guys, thanks a lot for coming on the show. Thanks a lot for your comments. And I hope you guys come back on the show again. Any final thoughts from the two of you?
Apiwa, you can go first.
First of all, we need to agree that we have a chance. We do have a chance, even though no matter how bad it is right now for the Proteas, we need to agree we have a chance. Not that we are favorites or anything. We have a chance. We've got KG, Lungi, Anas, and Shamo. I think we rival most teams in the world for best bowling attack going into that World Cup. So we do have a brilliant bowling attack. We've got Queenie, we've got Faf, we've got Rassie when he gets going. We've got Bavuma getting us going in the power play. So we do have a chance. That's what I'm saying. Yes, we need to fix a few things. Clausen was brilliant before COVID. So we had that going for us. We had the number 5. So we do have a chance. Let's not be all doom and gloom and think it's all over for the Proteas. We have a chance.
Yeah, I agree there. Yeah, there's no room for negativity. I mean, I feel the squad has a lot of potential. I think, yeah, we just have to see how things go leading up to the World Cup. I think we have a good group of players, maybe a couple of missing pieces of the puzzle, but I'm quietly confident that everything will be sorted well before the tournament begins. And for those who haven't already, give us a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you again very soon. So, guys, I'm going through to more of the comments right now to talk to you guys. Interesting points made by both Abai and Apiwe. Excellent comments over there. And I think it's quite because, I mean, when you're going to talk about this, there's a lot that needs to be spoken about, of course. And I think that if South Africa can nail down their batting lineup and obviously pick players that can play the natural game, it will help everybody to feel a lot at ease. You don't want guys coming into the middle trying to play a type of cricket that they're not used to. And I don't think Boucher should force these guys into thinking that way. I think South Africans generally play a brand of cricket that is exciting. Naturally, they want to score runs and score quickly. So they should allow certain guys to just allow to play their style of cricket and be open and express themselves. Rubabalo saying, "Oh, my Henry is spot on. I have been singing this tune for 6 years now. Our whole cricket culture needs to be revisited from junior cricket." Spot on. I agree with that 100%. Dick saying, "Abai hit the nail on the head, knowing the fact that the World Cup is in India and AB has a lot of experience in Indian conditions, and he has that fearless and smart mindset that we are talking about. He does. I still do think that AB needs to put his name forward and say, I want to play. Give us as the fans as well some sort of certainty, or this. Just give us some hope that we know, or give us some certainty so that we know that you're going to come back or not come back." Both Hendricks should not be in the team. Hardy did drive all the way to Paul. Nope, I did not go to Paul. I'm not going to the games live. We've been covering the game from home. It hasn't been smart enough for me to go all the way to Paul. I don't think it works out for the type of content that we want to do, guys. So AB should return with our team. This team is nothing. He will have his final swan song in the T20 World Cup win. And that's what we always said and what we always thought. The thought process behind that was for the World Cup, the ODI, the 50 over World Cup as well, but it didn't happen. It actually stings seeing other sporting events take place in Australia and Europe, and we can't even get it right in a bubble. It is quite frustrating what's going on. They made some interesting points this morning. Mike Atherton made some interesting points about why England did it so successfully. They said that at certain grounds, there are hotels on the grounds. I think that the way they could have combated this the best is to only play at Newlands, the whole series, at one particular ground, and not have to travel almost 45 kilometers, 50 kilometers to go to Paul. I think it might be more than that, actually. But between grounds, there's a lot of opportunities open then for mistakes to happen and for things to happen, because you can contract coronavirus in any sort of way. You guys must please keep safe as well, sanitize, etc., because you can pick it up from any surface, and it can be very tricky for you to be able to control that completely. And I think if they just played at Paul and they just went from the Vineyard to Newlands, I think they would have been safer than to move around so much, because at any point things could happen. Okay, let's not talk about the buys not on the show. Running a national team like we're running a club, I see. Watch how the next generation behaves. Ruvalo equals to president of David Miller Club. I cannot get on the show tonight. That was obviously to a buy. Hey man, Ravi, they're having a go at each other nicely in the comments. Afsal, we would get creamed if we don't play the veterans. Bats Quentin de Kock, Faf, and Muller 1 to 3, attacking all the way. It's an interesting point. Quentin de Kock is the best batsman in the Proteas team in all formats. Yes, he is. And that was my whole talk about whether he should drop the gloves or not. But let's not get into that conversation. I think that's a debate for another time. Ravi, I want him rested for 1 or 2 series to find a few missing pieces. Then we can call the guys rested back. Or you can pick a core group that would be there and then try to fit them into that puzzle in the series as well. Also an opportunity. Good points up here. SA has a solid bowling attack in Gidi, Nokia, Shamsi, and KG, and they do. Yeah, they do. They are some of the best bowlers in the world. So I don't think that our bowling options are the problems. Why don't they mention the player's name that has the virus? Or other professionals has been named, example Ronaldo. Okay, so that. Dalan Phillips, if that's how Dalen Phillips. Is that how I pronounce it? Sorry, I'm being an idiot here. I can't pronounce your name properly, but okay. I'll explain to you now how it happens. So ultimately, it's doctor-patient confidentiality. So CSA as an organization are not legally allowed to announce who had coronavirus without the player's permission. So what has happened, you see in football, is the players themselves have come out with statements, or they've spoken to their agents, or they've gotten their press guys to talk to the media to announce who has corona and who doesn't. It will be the players' decision to say whether they want to announce it or not. So I don't think us knowing necessarily helps us, because it's not like we're going to have contact with the players anyway. Us knowing that information will just be because of inquisitiveness, as human nature. But I think that generally speaking, it will be illegal for CSA to announce who has coronavirus and who has been positively tested without the player's permission. So that's the reason why they have not announced it yet. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for commenting in the comment section, of course. I love that. Any news whether tomorrow's game is going to take place or not? I haven't received any information on that. If you guys do know, please just tweet us at Cricket Fanatics Mag if you hear anything, and let us know as well, because we haven't heard anything from Cricket South Africa quite yet, or from the ECB either. So let us know what you've heard. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos. Tomorrow we bring out a new issue of the Cricket Fanatics magazine. Subscribe right now to get that issue, as well as all the back issues. It's free. The link is on the screen, and the link is in the description as well. If you want to keep up to date with all things on Cricket Fanatics, go to cricketfanaticsmag.com. We've got amazing content on the site. There's even an England series tab to keep you updated on everything that's happening with regards to England. If you guys have a business and you're looking to get sales online, even if your business is offline, there's an awesome article that we published on our Facebook page. Go check it out. A couple of pages back. There's also a free video on the site to teach you exactly how to do that, as well as to do it with Cricket Fanatics magazine, to help you guys through this difficult period. Thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, everyone.